quick? Yeah. All right, it's an old joke, so don't yell out the punchline, okay? Sorry if you've heard it before. But so a Jewish fella and a Christian and a Buddhist die in a car accident, and they wind up at the pearly gates. And so the Jewish fellow looks down at his wrist, and he's got a chain around his wrist. And he's like, what the heck? And he pulls it, and he sees that he's chained to a big old mule. And he's like, what's the meaning of this? And suddenly St. Peter appears, and St. Peter says, you barely made it to heaven. All through your life, you were pulled around by lust and greed and envy, and now all eternity you're going to be pulled around heaven by this big old mule. So the Christian guy looks down, and he's like, what the heck? He's got a chain around his wrist too. He pulls it. He's chained to a big old Brahma bull. And St. Peter says, you barely made it to heaven. So all your life, you're going to be chained to this big old Brahma bull, and he's going to pull you around heaven. So that Buddhist guy gets to look in, and he's got a chain around his wrist too, and he kind of pulls it. He looks, and he's chained to Cindy Crawford, one of the most beautiful models in the world. And he looks at St. Peter, and St. Peter says, now look, I know you're Buddhist, I know you overcame lust and greed and envy, and I know you found perfect enlightenment and all that stuff, but Cindy Crawford barely made it to heaven. And now she's going to be pulled around heaven by a Buddhist. That's funny. I don't care who you are. That's funny, right? But have you heard it before? One of the things that I think is funny about that joke, though, is that I grew up in church. And then there was, in my later life, I lived 6 years as a born-again Christian. And I would hear a joke like that about heaven, and deep down I would think, well, maybe that's how it is up there. That sounds fair. Like, I don't know how heaven works. When I went to church growing up, they knew a lot about hell. They could tell you who was going there, what was going to happen to them there, what it looked like there, what it smelled like, fire and brimstone, They could talk to you all about hell, but you ask them about heaven, not so much, And so, if you would go find my childhood pastor, if you ask him about hell, you better bring a lunch. He could tell you all about hell. But if you ask him about heaven, he'd be like, I really don't know that much about heaven. He'd probably say, I heard that there was a mule and a Brahma bull and Cindy Crawford, But, when I was never so happy with all that hell talk from my childhood to actually convert to Buddhism. And I thought I had escaped. But about a year after following my Lama around, he asked me to read this book, The Words of My Perfect Teacher. And dang if Tibetan Buddhists don't believe in hells too. And they don't have just one hell, they have 17 kind of hells in Tibetan Buddhism. Am I right? They got the hot hell, the really, really hot hell, the molten lava hell, the firecracker hell, they got the cold hell, the really cold, cold hell, the hell where it hells all the time, I was like, I greatly increased my chances of going to hell by becoming a Buddhist. Wrong direction, Now sometimes on a plane, I'm like, you hit that turbulence a little bit, and it's like, whoa, a big old bird like this can take a little turbulence. It's okay, right, buddy? Right, buddy? But then you hit that turbulence where the plane drops like 200 feet, and you're like, oh, Jesus, Buddha, Obama, help me. Don't let me die. I'm going to wind up in one of the Buddhist hells. When I was a Christian, I had a 50-50 chance, heaven or hell. Now I'm a Buddhist, I can wind up in 17 different hells, But, even if you don't believe in reincarnation or an afterlife or whatever, just in this life, I can look back and see. In Buddhism, we believe in, you're born in these different realms, and it's kind of like going to school. You learn something from each life, and what you're doing is getting a little bit closer to enlightenment. So Buddhism, they say that we're born as animals, we've been born as hungry ghosts, we've been born in the God realm, in the hell realm, in the human realm, and so unlike Christianity and Buddhism, the hell realm it's not forever. You're not frying for all eternity. You kind of fly in, burn off some bad karma, and fly out, you know. It's kind of like Las Vegas. You fly in, empty your bank account, and fly out. It's not forever. You're just learning something from it, you know. So, even in this life, though, I've lived through various stages. You know, I remember I've lived as an animal, afraid, not knowing where my next meal was coming from. I lived like a hungry ghost where I was self-serving and greedy, and it was all about me. I lived just in this one lifetime, all the realms that Buddhists talk about, even the God realm. You know, when I was a young father, once a year that income tax check would come in with the earned income credit. I thought I was rich. I get like a check for $2,800, man. I thought we were never going to be broke again when I was a kid, you know. We lived like a guy for about 2 weeks, and then we were broke. I tell my first wife, girl, you go in that Walmart and get you something nice. We got our income tax check in. Sorry, babe, tell my first wife. I take you to the Target. If you're good, we'll go to Plato's Closet and Close Mentor today. Okay? So yeah, through reading about mythology, studying Buddhism, thinking about my life, all the different things that I've lived through, I'm finally at 47 able to look back at the church of my childhood and say, you know, despite your threats, despite your judgment, despite what you think of me, I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. Not anymore, you know? And that's a good thing, because I actually work in mental health. And I often find myself in a room where somebody's either heading towards crisis, or they're in crisis, or they're just getting out of crisis. And my temptation is to close my heart because it's so uncomfortable. The trauma of what they're going through, I want to shut down. They're going through hell, and it makes me uncomfortable. So I really have to consciously think, I've survived hells like this myself. It's okay to leave my heart open. It's okay to be with them in their hell right now. With my words and actions, I can listen, I can be with them, I can try to help them find resources, and I can show them that I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours right now. I'm here with you. We're going to get through this, you know. I have a friend that worked for Child Protective Services. She said when she was younger, just getting into the business, the trauma of taking somebody out of their home was so great. Her heart was shut down, and she just wanted it to end. And so she would have to take a police officer to people's homes and take their children out of the home and load them up and take them to like a children's shelter. And the people were crying, and Mama was crying, and everybody was crying, and she just wanted it to end. And she shut her heart down like a fist. And she said when she got older and started studying meditation and just got a little wiser, she said, you know, there's a more humane way to do this. I can leave my heart open. It might take another hour longer, it might take 2 hours, but maybe Mama wants to cook a meal for those kids before they leave. Maybe instead of throwing everything in a trash bag and pulling it off, maybe Mama wants to get out the luggage and fold every sock, fold all the underwear, and fold everything and get the toothbrush and put it up. And maybe Mama wants to walk the kids out to the car and say goodbye to her kids. And it may take longer, but it's more humane. And so she was saying with her words and actions, I've survived many hells like this before, and I'm not afraid of yours. Does that make any sense? So this message is a little heavy for me to carry myself. Would y'all help me with that? Yeah. So, yes or no? Yes. Okay. So when I point at you, can you say I'm a survivor of many hells and I'm not afraid of yours? Can y'all do that? Because we're, you know, in Buddhism it says that there's no escape from suffering, not in this life, you know. This life, there's enough suffering to help you wake up. That's why you have to learn from these things that happen to you. These hells you go through, you have to learn from them, you know. And so I've often got the call that, you know, my daughter's on drugs and she's homeless and she's on the streets, and I'm not going to help her again. I'm going to practice tough love. Do you think I'm making the right decision? And I don't know. what that decision. He says no, but I don't know if he's an expert in the field. Depends on the situation. Yeah, that's right. And so that's right. You don't know. I don't know. We don't know. It depends on the situation, right? So I don't have nothing to offer that person except for saying, I'm here with you. I support whatever decision you have. If you need me to come and listen to you and cry with you, I'll do that. And so not knowing the answer, right, all I can say in my words and actions is, I'm a survivor of many hells and I'm not afraid of yours. Let's try that again. I'm a survivor of many hells and I'm not afraid of yours. Because we're all going to get these calls, and we get these calls, right? You get the call that somebody that you've known for years is in the hospital or something happened to them, and you got to find the hospital and find the floor and walk those cold, sterile hallways and go to the ICU, and you walk in and the person that you love is covered with machines and breathing apparatus, and there's monitors, and the family is sitting around them crying, and there's nothing that you can do. You can't fix this. There's no way to fix it, right? All you can do is go down and get some food and bring it up, hang out with them, spend the night there, maybe go home and take care of their dog, water their plants, whatever they need. But the feeling is, I'm going to shut my heart down. I want this to end. I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to see this. But you're in hell with somebody. And when you're in hell with somebody, you got to leave your heart open, and you got to listen. And you got to show them with your words and actions that I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. One more time here, I'm not saying it. I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. Because you're going to get that call from somebody you've known for years. And I know this is kind of heavy. I'll lighten it up in a minute, but I can't always be laughing fun monkey, okay? When the universe, God, my higher power, collective consciousness gives me a message, I got to stand and deliver it, okay? When you get a call from your lifetime friends and their partner has died, and you have to go down to that funeral home, and you step through that funeral, and you get in that car line, and you're following the hearse to the graveyard, and you know that they're about to put their best friend down in a hole, and you can't fix it. There's nothing you can do about it, nothing you can say, nothing. The only thing that you can do is keep your heart open and say, I'll help you go through the bills. I'll move you from a big house to an apartment. I'll stay with you. I'll visit you. I'll be here, not just today, not just tomorrow, not just this month, but all year. Whatever you need, I'm going to be beside you, because I know you just lost your best friend. With your words and your actions, you're saying, I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. One more time. I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. So, when you're in that situation, and I think that maybe even spiritual organizations go through similar circumstances. I don't know exactly what's happening at Celebration Circle right now, what y'all are going through, but I think that as a community, y'all can come together and heal together. Am I right? Yes. And I don't know who was hurt or what happened, and I don't care really. But regardless who's involved, you have to love them. Somebody's going through a hell right now. I can feel it. And the thing is to open your heart and be there. Amen? Amen. All right. So y'all want to hear a joke real quick? Yes. Like, please tell us a joke. So an engineer died and he wakes up in hell, and right away he could tell why it's so damn hot down there, because the AC units are out. So he gets up and he starts working on the AC units, and by noon, it's a cool 65 degrees in hell. He can tell why everybody's so miserable walking around skinny is because that big conveyor belt that goes to HEB curbside in the sky is broke. So he gets to fixing the conveyor belt, and there's champagne and caviar and cheese and crackers. And before long, everybody's stuffed, and he just goes to fixing things. Eventually, one day, God looks down and he sees people in hell wearing cardigan sweaters and drinking hot tea with their pinkies up, God says, what's going on down there, devil? Devil goes, hey, we got this engineer. He's fixing everything, man. It's awesome. God says, engineer, you ain't supposed to get engineers. Send him back up here. Devil goes, man, you got millions of engineers. Let's have this one. He's fixing us up. And God says, if you don't send that engineer back, I'm going to sue you. And the devil says, where are you going to find a lawyer? Y'all got time for a quick meditation? All right, with every eye closed in the house, sit in a meditative posture. Close your eyes. Y'all got to play a little music. What we're going to do is we're going to visualize somebody that we know that is suffering right now. Maybe it's somebody that's a part of this community. Who knows? Maybe it's somebody that's already passed on, but you know that their life was full of suffering. I want you to visualize that person in front of you right now. This is called Tong Lin. You're going to breathe in all of their suffering. You're going to breathe it in like a gray smoke. You see that person in front of you, and when you breathe in, inhale, you're sucking all that negative energy out of them, all that suffering out of them. And when it goes into your body, it gets transformed into healing light. And when you exhale, you're breathing that healing, happiness, wellness into their body. So we're breathing in deeply, breathing out. No matter what they did to you, what happened, everything is caused by fear, suffering, confusion, ignorance. As you breathe, you're pulling that out of them. You're pulling it out with a gray smoke into your nostrils and down into your body where it's transformed into healing light. And you breathe it back out. You're breathing out healing. You're breathing out love and forgiveness. Big, deep breaths. Big exhales. Breathing in. Breathing out. About 5 more really deep breaths. Visualize the person. Maybe you want to visualize and pray for our government. Maybe visualize somebody with a comb over and his name rhymes with dump. Who knows? Breathing in. Breathing out. This person hurt you, this person offended you, this person did something, but this is where it starts. If you can visualize them, that's where it begins. And slowly you might be able to approach them in person. Or if they're gone, maybe their name or a picture of them won't cause old responses. About 3 more really, really deep breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, you can open your eyes now. You know, I I was in that meditation, I was reminded of a story of Buddha. He was coming back from begging his daily meal, and all the monks were out there meditating. He was looking for this one specific person and couldn't find him. So he went walking around looking, and he saw underneath the tree a guy was reclining under the tree in the shade. So Buddha walked over there, and sure enough, it was the guy he was looking for. And Buddha looked down, knelt down, and the guy was burning up with a fever, and he had sores and blisters all over his face and his chest. And Buddha hollered at the other monks, and the monk came over, and they said, "This guy's sick, man. He's burning up with a fever. Go get some fresh water, get some food, get some fresh robes, get some fresh bedding." And when they got back, Buddha stripped the guy down, and he washed the guy from head to toe and cleaned the wounds. And he put medicine on them and bandaged them. And then he gave the guy food and water and gave him a fresh bedding. And Buddha stayed with the guy for 4 nights until that guy recovered from that. And so Buddha was saying with his actions, he was telling the God realm, the animal realm, the hungry ghost realm. He was showing all, in the monks, he was saying, look, meditation isn't priority. The teachings are not priority. Seeking enlightenment or liberation is not priority. Taking care of each other is priority. I think he was saying with his words and his actions, I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. One time Buddha was walking down the road, and there was these 2 religious scholars, and they were debating whether animals had a life after death. Do animals go to heaven? Do animals reincarnate? Is there a cat heaven and a dog heaven, or do they all go to the same heaven? And when Buddha walked by, they asked his opinion. He turned around to answer them, and he saw quickly what had caused that conversation, because there was a deer laying there with an arrow sticking out of its shoulder. And without even answering them, Buddha ran over there and he scooped up that deer, and he carried it back to the spiritual community. And he got the rest of the monks, and they gingerly took the arrow out of the shoulder, and they cleaned the wound, and they bandaged it, and they got water and food for that deer, and they nursed the deer back to health until the deer could get on his own 4 feet and trot away into the forest. And he's saying priority is not meditation. Priority is not getting churchy. Priority is taking care, compassion, loving kindness, generosity. He was shown with his words and actions. I'm a survivor of many hells, and I'm not afraid of yours. I'm right here with you. Has this message blessed you at all today?
Yes.
All right. Do me a favor, if you have heard what I said today, can you high five your neighbor and say you're a survivor? High five your other neighbor and say you're a survivor. All right. I want to say one thing before I leave. Like I said, I don't know what's going on. I was put on the schedule to speak before I found out about anything going on in your community. But I am reminded one time that I text somebody and I said spiritual leaders should be held to a higher standard. And I sent that text. And sometime later, I went back to read what I had sent, and autocorrect had changed the word held to helped. So it actually says spiritual leaders need to be helped to a higher standard. All I can say is y'all come together. I don't care who's mad at what. Y'all need to love on each other and heal, okay? Because we need you in San Antonio. We need this community. I love each and every one of you. God bless you.